What
Hello.
up?
Hi.
It's
Hello there.
Wednesday.
Wednesday is a
I'm
hump day.
so happy to see like all your beautiful faces between Seindole glowing. T and Tamira has made an appearance tonight. Like Justin in his pink Warrior wear a little merch plug real quick. That color looks so pretty on you. Hey Rakarsha and Brian H. Waters. I love the shirt.
Thank you, thank you. I like it a lot. It was a gift. WrestleMania, anybody knows, is my favorite pay per view. So I really appreciate that person. Ah,
The show has officially started, and Dylan is here. Hi, Dylan. We've
What
Dylan
missed
up?
you.
from the Gold
We've
Coast.
missed you
the Gold
from the.
Coast, that's what they call it.
I don't know if they call it the Gold
The
Coast.
land down under?
It sounded real cool
That
though.
that sounds about right. That
I
sounds about
know,
right.
yeah, but
Is it? I thought it was the Gold Coast. Am I wrong?
I know it's tomorrow. I don't, it's fan club, not geography. So
We know
welcome
wrestling.
back
We
to
don't
fan
know
club.
geography.
Thank
just
you.
speak for yourselves.
Want to welcome everybody back to TWG Fan Club. This is a very special night. It's usually our weekly, wrestling fan club. We come together and just talk shit about wrestling with some of our favorite people. But tonight is special. It is Dana Brooke Appreciation Night, which I am very excited about because this whole night and this whole stream is very much what those wrestling girls is all about, which is to give a platform and a spotlight to women who kind of deserve it. And we think Dana Brooke deserves it, and we think she's awesome. So we're going to be celebrating her. But before that, I want to celebrate another fabulous woman that we luckily have known for a while, who is the new NJPW Strong Women's Champion, Miss Willow Nightingale. I could not be more proud of Willow. I have watched her wrestle for years now. Shout out to Battle Club Pro. I recently got into all access, and like I can't lie, I was with a dear friend, and I got a little emotional seeing her like on national television, like on this show, because she is such an amazing person. Like I always said, she was magical. Like I egg of circumstances, and to see her on this grand stage has been amazing. So congratulations to her. I know we're all Willow fans. To Mercedes, unfortunately, she got hurt during that match. And it was a pretty competitive match. So we hope you get better soon, Mercedes. But we want to celebrate Willow Nightingale tonight. How did you guys feel like seeing this win? I know Justin, if you haven't checked out his recap of your your latest YouTube video. But how did you guys feel seeing Willow Nightingale?
Well, it was first off, it was really an intense match. Like both of them, I mean, is always hard for me. I think like Patricia said, Justin's recap was kind of per to a T. So Justin, you can dive in a little bit more because I'm just gonna repeat everything you said on your recap because your recap was spot on.
Fine. All right, I'll take the lead on this one. So
Mhm.
I actually watched this pay per view live, New Japan Resurgence. This was this Sunday over in Long Beach, California. You had three women's matches on the card to crown the inaugural New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's title that they just created. So you have Mercedes Moné and Willow Nightingale, separate parts of the bracket, but it looked like they were on a head-on collision. And I know I wasn't the only one that was like, we gotta get a Mercedes Willow final, especially where Willow in the build-up to this has been talking about how Mercedes is a dream match and one of the people that she
Yeah.
really wanted to face. And then Mercedes, the last time we saw her was in Stardom, but it's been a
Hmm.
minute since we've seen her stateside and wrestle. So for a lot of the people in that crowd, this was their first time seeing Mercedes as Mercedes and not Sasha Banks, which added to
What was
the
the location?
ambiance. Long Beach.
They're in
Long
Long
Beach.
Beach. Yeah,
Yeah. You said that. My fault.
So
they're
in
in Cali.
Yep, Uncle Snoop's hometown. Let's put it
Hmm.
like that. So you
Mm.
had celebs that actually pulled up for this, and then you had the final, which main evented this pay per view, which is the first time you've ever had a women's match main event a New Japan Pro Wrestling pay per view. Period. And then you're getting Mercedes and
Mm.
Willow, which everyone was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go." And then when the match started, like the crowd gave them like 2-3 minutes of just a standing ovation, an applause, and just like gave them both their flowers because they also wrestled early in the night too. So this is like both of them wrestling
Mm.
twice in one night. But it's also like, yo, you got two black women headlining this pay per view for a company where this has never
Mm.
happened
Mm.
before. Willow finally gets her dream match. Mercedes finally gets her moment to like, yo, let's do this. And it was a dope ass match up until that spot on the outside where Mercedes messed up her ankle. We still don't know the severity of it yet. Some people say broken. Some people say it could be something else. What I've been seeing on the dirt sheets in the Twitter sphere is it's not a serious injury compared to others that's been getting injured of late. But
Right.
not to dampen on the moment. Willow took
Mm-hmm.
full advantage of it. 1, 2, 3, brand new inaugural champion. Willow stands strong, and you could tell like that meant the world to her. What a fucking
Yeah.
moment!
No facts. One of the things like I've been, singing her praises all week on the ringer, and I just want to make sure like people know like Willow is somebody who goes out here. She's been working hard from day one.
Mhm.
I worked with her at WSU wrestling back in 2017, and just to see how humble she was coming in there and watching her evolution, watching her grow, it's been amazing. So like when I saw y'all remember when I saw she was in the tournament, I was like, I'm all for her. And of course, like it was fun just to break the fourth wall. In the group chat, I hit up the group chat and I says, all right, who y'all got winning? And Justin goes, who you think? Like you understand? Like, do you not know who I am? I'm Justin Rich. You already know who I'm rooting for. And I'm like, I get you rooting for Mercedes, but I'm rooting for
I was
Willow.
surprised how many
I
people
was like low
wanted.
key. I was like, I feel bad. Am I if, like I'm low key rooting for Willow, even though I
A
feel like
lot
I
of
should be
people
rooting for them both. But I'm like,
were.
if Willow wins,
I was
I'll be high key
surprised.
excited. You know what I mean?
I was surprised how many people like wanted an upset when I originally put the tweet out. Like, who do you guys think are gonna win? Because of course, you're like, okay, everybody wants Mercedes to win, but a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people wanted that upset. A lot of people wanted Willow to win, and I think her. I've been at shows where she's been on the card, and like she's very likable. Like people love Willow, so
And
I'm very happy for her. Kudos to her. I don't
Yeah,
know if you
she's
put up
someone
the.
that I don't know a lot about, but like this last couple of months, and then since we've met her, like she's someone that I've really like want to like get to know a lot more. So going into that match, Brian put it perfect. If you know me, you know I've always said it. I've said it on Fan Club numerous times. I think Mercedes is the GOAT, the best to ever do it. But I really wanted this match to main event to where I was like, I honestly don't care who wins because I win
mhm.
already because I'm getting this
That's
match.
when wrestling is the most fun to watch in the
Yep.
moment, is when you're like, I'm not interested who wins. I'm just excited for the show. I'm excited for the spectacle of it all. And because we're all like rooting for Willow, it was really, really fun to watch. And again, if you have not already, check out Justin's recap of the show. It was um really, really good. But before we get into our Dana Brooke appreciation night, just some things going on in the TWG universe. We have had a lot going on, which I have been like really, really excited about. We just dropped our podcast version of our live stream with Rest Things, which is our friends over in London.
Mhm.
They are doing big things over there as far as expanding the Black wrestling community over in the UK. So we were very excited to collab with them. So we dropped the audio version and you can rewatch it on YouTube. We are going to be doing this every few months with them and other people in the Black wrestling community over in the UK. So it's really our way of just expanding that community and just making sure that we're all kind of aligned and just expanding, which is like super cool because wrestling is super cool. And being able to connect with other people that like look like us over there is really, really awesome. So go check that out if you haven't already. Sound Off is back this Friday on Twitch. You could join my better half, Krista B and CRISPA on Twitch, 3 p.m. Eastern this Friday. We took a couple weeks off, so you know Krista and CRISPA have a lot to get into, so don't miss that. And we are doing our second live episode recording session on Twitch this Saturday. Krista B really wanted to for a while now, and I think it's kind of like due to cover Nancy Benoit, who was known as Woman in WCW and on the wrestling circuit. She did a lot of cool things in wrestling, and unfortunately, she's only known for really dark things. So we want to, basically what those wrestling girls is about, what tonight is about as well, is giving that platform to women who need a much deserved spotlight. So we're going to talk about some of the cool things that she did in the business prior to everything that we know about her now, but we want to get into some of the cool things that she did. She was an awesome manager. She was very creative. She was very helpful backstage. She was a part of a lot of cool moments. So we'll be getting all into that. So join us on Twitch this Saturday at noon. Shout out to Krista B. I'm really excited that, some of the ones that, me and her both lobby for, we're about to go on 5 years. We either of us don't want to do normally end up being really cool episodes, and I think this is going to be one of those. So make sure you join us. If you know anyone in your wrestling fandom group of friends, particularly that are into women, that was into her, and there are moments that we should have them follow us, have them join us Saturday. Again, we record live because we want you guys a part of the episode, so join us for that. Learn more about a dynamic woman in wrestling, as we will. And if you are an expert and there's some things we need to cover, even more reason to join us. Shout out to Phil, who joined us for Thirsty Thursday this month. It was an awesome experience, from Fightful and many, many, many other things. All I'm going to say is pay close attention to Grapsity. You might see some familiar faces as guests this summer. Krista B and I are definitely booked and busy.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that should be
Mm.
really, really, really fun. And I want to also just shout out all of our loyal VIP fan club members. Our next Thirsty Thursday is June 8th. And we have another very special guest. And I'm not going to give you too much because we have a lot of content coming from this person. But you are really going to want to tune in and just follow those wrestling girls because we have a lot going on. ThoseWrestlingGirls.com is updated. I also want to shout out Blue For Your Wear. Hey, Get Your Podcast. Yeah, we need to
Get
get
Joe in the building.
Get you
we
in
need
the
to
building.
out on the show. It is extremely long overdue. I'm gonna have Krista B hit you guys up because it's time. And it's a very exciting time in wrestling, I must say. From watching Impact, from New Japan to everything AEW has going on, it's a very exciting time right now.
Do you know how many hours of wrestling there is this week, including the premium live events?
Do y'all know that I have to strategically plan how I'm going to watch NXT, AEW at the same damn time?
What
And then
about
on top of
Impact?
that, and then Impact.
Trinity's wrestling.
And Trinity's wrestling because I cannot not watch my girl. It's my
And then
girl.
we
Right.
got the
And
best
then
pregame show for Night of Champions right
Champions.
here.
And then
Um,
I got to freaking watch Night of Champions. Yeah, Memorial Day is starting to get stacked.
That's
I
why I'm
know what
glad
y'all
Power's
doing.
on Fridays now.
So I didn't know. So Dylan is always dropping the bombs. I didn't know Cassie Lee, aka Pam Royce, returned to wrestling.
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh,
Fresh off of
yeah.
having her baby.
Okay, where is she wrestling? I'm so intrigued. And yes, rest in peace to Tina Turner, unfortunately, who passed today. I work in a newsroom. It was a very
I know what you
buzzing
meant.
We know what you meant,
experience in the
journalist. It's okay.
office. Thank you. Okay, because I was like, that sounds crazy. But I also do work with a bunch of like British people, so they understood the impact, but they don't understand
Mm.
very such a big loss. Losing Tina Turner. This show is definitely dedicated to powerful, strong women, and the fact that we're honoring Dana Brooke, part of why I wore my China shirt today, is just really just celebrating strong women. And Tina Turner was one of those women. She was very built, but she was like so talented and so dynamic. And Beyonce took a lot from Tina Turner in her stage presence. And I think a lot of those similarities of just being a performer, talking about wrestling, just being a performer, connecting with people. Tina Turner was one of those people that did that. So rest in peace to her. Um, but yeah, I wanna kind of get into. We'll take a break in a little bit, but I do want to just shout out some wrestlers that were out here in these streets going mainstream. So I have to give it up to Jade Cargill, who I don't think has ever missed. I think she always understands the assignment. And she was at the Black Music Honors red carpet looking angelic. Who was that interviewing her? Does anyone
Um,
recognize that journalist that's interviewing Jade Cargill? Because
I
she looks very
forgot.
familiar.
Not off the top of
But
my
she
head,
looks
no, but
absolutely amazing. I don't know if
Facts.
anybody agrees with me, but I watch a lot of like the interviews that she does, and I think she is a very good ambassador for professional wrestling. I may not like love how she's booked in AEW, but she's an absolute great ambassador for the industry as a whole. So seeing her out here, doing what she's doing, shout out to Jay Cargill for sure, for
No, you
sure.
said it
Who
best.
do you guys
Yeah.
want to? What exactly?
No, when you said she's a ambassador for wrestling, you said it best. My
Yeah,
bad.
she really is. I think she knows how to talk about it. I think just she has the whole package in general. But I want to know who you guys think should win between her and Taya, because I think it's time for the TBS championship to make moves, as they say,
But
to
they're
keep us
not gonna
interested.
move it. So let's keep it moving. They're not gonna move it. I'm sorry. It's just like if they don't do it this weekend, and just like, all right, call us when you're ready. Because at this point, every time I do this to myself all the time, and y'all know, you two know that I did this in Newark. I was like, yo, if Naya walks out with this championship, I'm gonna be tight, but I'm gonna understand, and will happen. Shane walk out. So now I'm like the excitement, the boner is not there to in any match whatsoever, unfortunately. So I'm in my head, I'm just like, all right, Jay's gonna have it. Like they're and like, come on, look at how she looks. Like you really gonna make her lose? Let's not be stupid here, Tony. Get it together.
I think Ty Valkyrie should win, especially considering the fact that she faced Jay before. So now it's like, let's logically speaking, you get that rematch, you get a chance to go back to the drawing board, figure out where you went wrong, and go back in there and take care of business. Um,
Mhm.
I agree. It's time for a new change. You need a shake up, and we need some adversity from Jade. We've seen it all. Now it's time to see her climb because you said it best. She's a great ambassador for wrestling. So now it's time for her to be wearing the big gold. No pun intended.
Mhm.
So I love that, dig that, understand that. We've been here 3 times before. Not moved the needle.
With who?
Maybe
What
a
you
third
mean?
time we've been here with Athena.
Okay, I got you.
We've been here with me and Shafir, which I could understand. Like me and Shafir is me and Shafir, like it wasn't a big deal, like as a put. But we've been here at least 2 or 3 times, and what happens? We get 21-0. We get 35-0. We get 42-0. We get hometown win.
Such
Like
ridiculous numbers.
I don't know if it's gonna take like for the page effect to happen for some newbie to just pop out and just like do a 1, 2, 3 roll up for Jay to win. I don't know what it's gonna take, but just like something in my gut tells me it won't be this time. And if it is this time, I hope she just comes like foot out first to the current champion and is like, all right, I had that belt, now I want this one. I want that. So
Mhm.
I get you, but you get it.
Not
You
yet.
get it.
Not yet.
see, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be a little more optimistic here because, like, we've been saying on Fan Club for a while, like, what are we doing with Jade? If Jade's undefeated and this dominant, why is she not going for the top championship and trying to either be like, I'm gonna hold 2 belts, or this is basically like, I don't need this anymore because I've ran through this competition. I want that top belt and I want to face this top competition. So this is kind of lining up for Taya to take this off of her, and especially where Siendo's given the points of like, We've been down this road before, and then it
Mhm.
doesn't happen. You know who else listens to this? Tony Khan, because Tony Khan's been hearing this for like the last couple of months. Like, what the fuck are you doing with Jade? You've seen her
Right.
on his red carpets. You've seen her do this. You've seen her do that, and you don't have big plans for this. Like,
Right.
bro, either we're gonna actually do something with Jade once and for all, or you're basically gonna push her to another company. Because at some point, she's gonna get fed up and be like, if this is my
Dylan did
ceiling,
say in the comments it's time to come to the big time, but I'm excited to see how this goes because it's
mhm.
obviously she's made history. Like it's time to move on. But also Dana Brooke, going back to her because it is Dana Brooke Appreciation Night. She was at, I want to say, PB on the PBA tour. I love that this belt has made its rounds. Like I know a lot of people hate that the logo is right in the center, but when it comes to like marketing and like promotional things like this, it kind of like totally works. And also Dana Brooke looks so good. But she makes a lot of appearances for WWE and she was here, doing what Dana Brooke gotta do.
And the
Yeah.
PBA tour is not a small thing. Like I know people are like, well, I don't watch bowling. Like who watches bowling? But at the same time, you be the same ones that on social media that like time to time you see that clip of like dude that going ape shit after getting like a strike. Who do you think you are? I
Oh,
am. That's where that's from. That's that PBA.
oh, okay,
I
okay.
never do that. Thank you,
Yo, it's
Justin.
hilarious. Yeah. Because
Yeah, it was
like
like he had to hit like what 3 strikes in a row in order to win, and he actually did it, which is actually kind of
Mhm.
difficult to do. And that's where he just went on a fucking like tirade out there, like
Don't tell Corey that. Corey will laugh at you and tell you it's not
Yeah.
hard. You know, he'll play about his bowling.
Oh,
Listen,
I mean,
bowling
it's
is
not
shit. Don't tell
easy. It's
Peter about
definitely a
that
tough
either.
sport.
Because Peter would be like, it is more than just that. And he'll go into like this scientific logic as to why bowling is just as strategic as basketball and football. And I'm looking at him like, all right, we get it. You was winning in high school. We got it, bro. Got
oh
it.
no, bowling is serious. Like
He
dudes
got
have their
my
own.
brother.
They got
Like
their
he was
own
not playing
balls.
games.
They got specialized balls for like, okay, if I had to get a spare, I gotta use this ball. If I have to get a strike, I gotta use this ball. I gotta have
I
these shoes. I gotta have this outfit. I gotta
oh
have the glove.
I know. I had an ex. Like our first date was bowling, and I was like, okay, cool. Like I know how to bowl until I hit like 3 strikes, and he looked at me like I was the devil. And then he got real serious, and I was just like, listen, I thought we were having fun. But then when I should have known once I saw the shoes, like there's
I mean,
certain
if
shoes that
somebody
you
has
have to
their own
wear.
bowling shoes, then you
Word.
take them seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
No,
sure.
not as in Peter Rosenberg. Peter, my brother, Vaughn. Give
Peter.
it to you.
I mean, Brian does work with him over at the Ringer, so I guess that's a valid. Hey, Krista
Hollywood.
B. Hey,
Good
Krista
sis.
B. So I do want to just really quickly just shout out two accounts that have followed us for a long time. So I know when we put the tweet out about Dana Brooke, even when we put out the spotlight episode on her back in 2019, a lot of people were like, Dana Brooke, like, really? And what I've learned is, especially with the advent of social media, is never underestimate the fandom of someone, because social media gives them a community, it gives them a platform to like these people. So just because someone isn't your cup of tea doesn't mean that they don't have fans. And what I love about TWG is that we kind of proved that wrong. Like that tweet that we put out about Dana Brooke got tens of thousands of views. And as I was looking through the tweets, there were more positive ones about Dana Brooke as opposed to negative ones. And the people that had like negative things to say in the comments, and I don't mean like Justin's comments as in, like, okay, respectful ones. I mean like people that are like shitting on her, they post their little negativity and they leave, but they don't realize, they don't see like the legions of people that are like, wait, oh my God, we're celebrating Dana Brooke. Let's do it. She went viral a couple weeks ago. Hashtag Dana Brooke deserves a chance, I believe it was. Give Dana Brooke a chance.
Yep.
So just showing that, and then because of what our platform represents in that spotlight episode, we have had supporters in our women's wrestling fan community that run Dana Brooke fan accounts for years now, and we have always stayed connected with them because we are one of the accounts that always pick her up. She is a longtime veteran of WWE. She has done a lot of things that WWE might not showcase on commentary or on a daily basis, but her fans are paying attention. We did a deep dive to prepare for this episode, so she has done a lot. And shout out to Krista B as well, because she's the one that was like, agree with me, like, let's do an episode on Dana Brooke. Might not have been her favorite person, but she was like, you know what, that's what we're all about. She came up with the idea to do the women's spotlight this Saturday, and that is what we want to do, so we're excited to do that. So we'll take a break, so make sure you get on your Twitter sphere, hashtag TWG fan club, hashtag Dana Brooke appreciation night, tag her, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite Dana Brooke moments and what makes her relatable and memorable, and why she has such a loyal fan base, and everything that she's done the past almost 10 years maybe in WWE
She's
now.
going on 10 years.
Yeah, she's going on a decade.
She is what we would call a veteran. So the fact that, and that's what makes wrestling such a fascinating, interesting business, is that you can literally be wrestling for 10 plus years and still be looking for that one push, quote unquote, to get you over. And I think Dana Brooke has always been there, and she has everything that it takes. But we'll get all into that. So
I'm so excited.
Me too. Let's take a quick break, and everyone invite all your friends. Come into the hashtag TWG fan club, and we'll start celebrating.
I think altogether, all of the women need more visibility on TV besides like the 10 minutes out of 3 hours that they get. But that's what it is. I think we just need to see more of that development on TV for us to even care, because without social media, that's how the WWE universe got behind Dana Brooke, in my opinion, is social media, because we can see how bad she wants this. We can see how hard she works, how dedicated she is, and how passionate she is. And we want to root for that underdog. We want to be like, oh my God, look at Dana Brooke actually like getting somewhere. Like, oh shit, she beat out Ruby Riott, Lana to be in Money in the Bank. Like, that's a big deal. But
I mean,
Lana,
not so much, but yeah, Ruby
but
Riott.
she's way more popular than a Dana Brooke.
True.
And for Dana Brooke to actually get that spot and got a high spot in the match, I think is great. But it's like, what is WWE gonna do with that? Like, that's always the sad question.
True to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, when you got to get into it, you got to get into it. Get into it.
There's so much to unpack just from that like little video clip.
Throwback.
So that is I think our Dana Brooke episode was like high key like our third or fourth episode, and I'm so glad Krista B is watching. So that was our second kind of studio home. Yes, there is a story behind that day, and so it's a very like short episode. I feel like we look so young in it, but that was our first spotlight episode. So when we started this show, we didn't really know initially like what kind of content, like how we would structure it. But I knew what I wanted those wrestling girls to be. So Dana Brooke is our first spotlight episode, which meaning like it was supposed to be that platform where it's like, oh my God, no one talks about Dana Brooke enough. We're going to talk about Dana Brooke. And that's why that episode even came to be. And we played it on TWG Classic on Twitch a couple weeks ago because she was trending. And then that's when we realized, like, wait, we need a follow-up. Everything I was saying in that episode about the following up and WWE needs to do more, like, we're literally having the same conversation about the same wrestler, 4 years later?
Yep.
Yeah.
So what is your feelings per se about us doing this appreciation night? And how do you guys feel about Dana Brooke? Were you guys surprised she was trending? How do you land?
Well, I've always been a Dana Brooke fan from day one. It was something about her just when she I saw her in NXT, just watching her skill set, obviously she looks good, she has a good physique, but what I also enjoyed was just how one thing I noticed about her was you saw she was trusted. If you look at a lot of the top gals, your Oscars, who was the Oscars debut match against? Dana Brooke. You don't just put somebody in the ring. You gotta put somebody in that you can trust. They're going to give them a good match, right? So you saw that. We got a whole list that's coming up later. We're gonna see how many people she got victories over that you may be surprised. and without going too much and jumping the shark into the show too much, but it was just like she wasn't just somebody who, okay, I look good or whatever. Like, no, she looked like she can go out there and beat the hell out of you. She's a professional bodybuilder, and one thing you'll know that she helped Bianca with Bianca's recent bodybuilding, the award she won. Who you think mentored her? Like, gave her a lot of points and advice. Dana Brooke. Just letting her know. So I'm really excited we are being able to do this here. I'm excited to be a part of it. I always said this before, like that was one of the first episodes that I discovered from TWG. So it's like a full circle moment for me personally.
Yeah, I've always I gravitated to her. I think the first time I really gravitated to her was watching her story on Breaking Ground, because it's like, of course, it's like it. First of all, y'all know how we feel about NXT in this house. We at NXT, we fans of here. But just to know that they had a show that was not only covering like the most popular people at NXT, but also like who could possibly be next. And she was there, and I just liked her energy. But the one thing I really, really admired about Dana was just like grit. Like, y'all know how I feel about grit. Grit is like my code word tonight. Y'all know I do it with Mello. I feel a lot of people like, I feel about Mello the way I feel about her. And it's just like this undying dedication, because like it's one thing, and I can relate to be like constantly told, you got it, but you don't have it here. You got it, but you don't have it here. You got it, but you don't have it here. And instead of like being in your head and you be like, you know what, like forget it. I'm just gonna get by, or I'm just gonna like be as basic. She actually at the end of the series, and I remember it so vividly, she was like, you know what, I didn't get called up, and that's okay. She was like, I'm just gonna work hard. She was like, everybody does 2 a days. I'm gonna do 3 days. I'm gonna do 4 days. I'm gonna be here morning, noon, night, overnight. I'm gonna do everything that I can so that when I get called to the main roster, I'm ready. And I feel like it may be that she does have this great push of personality, that's why people gravitate towards her and why she has such a big fan base. Because even remembering that, I'm like, yo, I dig that. Like, you know how many people like will take a no and just go, well, I guess that's it. But she took a no and she was like, okay, what can I do next? Back to the drawing board. It's respectable. I respect that 1000%.
So this is the beauty of the spotlights that you guys have been doing with those wrestling girls, because it's to educate people that are not familiar with Dana Brooke and the things that she's done. Like for me, I didn't come on to Dana Brooke till about like 2015, 2016, when she was about to transition her way out of NXT and come to the main roster. I think back to the stuff with Asuka. I think back to NXT TakeOver London when Asuka's facing Emma and Dana Brooke's out there. And those are like some of those things where it's like, yeah, you forget where Dana Brooke pops up in like important moments. Like I've talked about Battleground 2016 many a times on Fan Club, why that was like an important pay-per-view, why that was like arguably the best pay-per-view that year. And we talk about that Charlotte and Sasha feud, and people forget like Dana Brooke is a critical piece of that feud, because Dana was the muscle for Charlotte. Sasha was doing everything she could to get to that title, and Dana was like, nah, you gotta go through me first before you get anywhere near the queen. And there's been times where it's like, even when I was preparing for this episode, I was like, yo, I forgot Dana Brooke had a straight up heads up match with Sasha Banks, the GOAT.
Yep.
And held her own. It's like, shit. But from 2016 on, that's where Dana really got my attention, because of the whole Charlotte and Sasha stuff and Dana's parts in that, where it's like, you know what? I'm not familiar with you, but now you got my attention. And I want to go back and watch some of the NXT stuff, or I want to keep track of you moving forward while you're on this main roster. Like 10 years, I was like, damn, has it really been that long? It's like, yeah.
It really, really has. And I was just watching like recaps of some of her wins, and I can see why, she was banked on and supported and dependable back in NXT, because she kind of has everything it takes. Professional bodybuilder, like, you think of, we're not comparing her to Trish Stratus in any way, but you think about who makes a good sports entertainer, and seeing her out
Gymnast.
there, right, gymnast, she has all of that going for her. So I can see why they were like, okay, someone scouted her. it made sense. I'm so glad you brought up her gymnast background, her being a professional bodybuilder, her helping Bianca, because WWE sometimes, and even just wrestling in general, is still very much misogynistic to a certain extent. So, you'll big up men for certain accomplishments before they come in, but you kind of don't mention the women or celebrate them in the same way. She's in the Arnold Classic in 2017. She was signed to WWE in 2017. So that means that she was not only traveling and working and doing the strenuous things that come with being a signed WWE superstar, but she was also competing in this tournament, and
You
she
see the
looked
logo under the shirt that I know you
Oh
don't
yeah.
recognize, but you see the
right,
logos right there.
right.
The
That's
Arnold.
even bigger moment is that she was also representing WWE, which is what a lot of people do there.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, Dana Brooke isn't celebrated in that same way. So
Which
I
she should,
definitely
because if
want
you
to.
look at that year, 2017, according to Wikipedia, she won 2 awards under Mr. Olympia for Female Image Award and Best Female of the Year. So you talk about a monumental 2017 for her.
Huge. That's huge. And I know this may be superficial to some people, but she also has 1 million Instagram followers. And she was one of the first to have 1 million Instagram followers. So, like, to some people, they may not need anything, but as someone that works in social media marketing, like, that's kind of huge too. Like, she has a huge following. But I like
Influence.
the. Go ahead, Brian.
Not just an influence.
Right. And because she's been around for so long. And anyone in the comments remember her in NXT and anything particular that stands out, because she was a part of that kind of special black and yellow class that everyone kind of raves about. She was a part of that before moving up to the main roster.
Yep. The good old days. Yeah, we always, we love those colors, very supreme. And then I always think about all the people that she had the pleasure of. Like you see up on the screen, we have her with Emma, but she tagged with a lot of people. She aligned herself with a lot of the people that we also admire. She aligned herself with Charlotte. She was one point with Mandy Rose. They were a tag team before Mandy got sent back to NXT. Like she's just been, I feel like every woman she's worked with, like the chemistry has never been a letdown. Never been a letdown. And we always talk about chemistry, like chemistry could be weird or it could be a spark. And she always, I guess, brings that spark whoever she's with. Is never like, she never had a good thing with this person or that person. Every person that she's had with is a spark.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone that's the oldest of the group, like when Sienna's talking about all the people she tagged with, like back in the day, they used to have a specific term for that called a tag team specialist. And that's something that fits Dana Brooke to the T, where it's like, it don't matter who you put her with, I can tag with them and we're going to go out there and kick some ass. And you look at the list of people she's tagged with, it's like, yo.
Yeah, we'll definitely, talk about that. But one thing, her running NXT with Emma, it was so much fun. It was so much fun to watch those two ladies. I wish we really could have got more later on, or maybe even a reunion now. I mean, I really see this tag division building up in WWE as far as the women's tag titles. I know Justin likes to say they're cursed or something, but I'm excited for Monday night. But I would love to see. I know Emma's like currently with Madcap, so that's one thing. But I enjoyed them too, and like you said, her partner with different people. It's always room right there, and it's a lot of storytelling. I mean, you look at the women's division. There's so many women. That's the reason why I wouldn't be opposed to a mid card title, quote unquote. The problem is how it be booked, right?
Right.
And that's the issue. But like I said, well, her and Emma, they was so much fun to watch, and you can see like even when Bailey was coming up back in the day, you would see like the stuff that they would do to her and whatnot. So that NXT run was definitely slept on.
Oh, definitely.
Yep.
It really was for
It really
sure.
was.
She was a part of a lot of our favorites, like kind of founding moments in NXT during the magical time. So shout out to Dana Brooke for that. And then her going up to the main roster. And we always talk about people who go to the main roster and kind of get lost in the sauce or like flounder. She's one of those people, and like no shade, no tea. Like she came up to the main roster and like she's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And the company has gone through a lot of ups and downs. And people would say it mockingly, like Dana Brooke still has a job, but like she does. And she has TV time. So I am excited about that as well, because everything she does is kind of like you can bet on it. She's safe. She's a good worker, as they would say.
Yeah.
As
I don't get what this like hidden is so annoying. Like, why do people want people to fail? And it's just like, I know in the past I've joked about like for example, just to step out just a little bit with Braun Breaker's situation, right? What have I been saying on these past shows? He's this, he's that. If he was heel, he'd be better. And then he became heel, and I was like, well, damn, that was better than what I expected. So in that percent of critique, I'm kind of like, only because if there's a certain vision for someone, I'm the type of person that's like, if I see a vision, I always gonna wish for it. And like with Dana Brooke, I'm just like, I wish they would do more. Like, I wish they would do so much more. But other people, I guess, her fans see the vision, but there are other people I think like I always say, there's fans who think it's just fun to heckle someone, and they
Right.
see this fun and like heckling her, and I'm like, well, you're not funny, because she's actually someone who's really good, and given her the right chances, she could go on to be great. And she's already 10 years in and she's still there. Obviously the company sees that, so I just feel like it's pointless.
I agree.
Facts.
I
Definitely.
want to go into something that WWE never addresses when they talk about Charlotte Flair's legacy and her constant championships. Her like lackey at one point was Dana Brooke. Her muscle was Dana Brooke. She helped Charlotte win plenty of matches.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure she was able to teach, Charlotte Flair a few things, as in, who was in wrestling first. But do you guys remember this? How do you guys feel about her partnership with Charlotte? Was you surprising looking back on it? What were your thoughts?
So,
Let me say, oh, go ahead, Justin, because I got a lot to say about this one.
all right, so I'll keep it. So
I got
I
nothing.
touched on this, but like again, like 2016, I'm locked in because this is when you have the four horsewomen on the main roster. This is WrestleMania 32, where they tear down the house in that triple threat. Eventually, Charlotte retains. It switches over to the women's title, and Dana partners up, which is a smart move. It's like, yo, let me partner up with the champ. Let me be your muscle. Let me watch your back. And it was a great partnership that benefited Charlotte because if you take away the time Sasha won the title, Charlotte basically starts and ends all of 2016 as champion and doesn't lose it until February of next year, where Bailey takes it off her. But then part of that is also because Sasha takes out Dana, and a lot of that is Dana watching Charlotte's back. You're not. I'm not gonna make it easy for anyone trying to come for this title. You gotta come through Dana, and even when you wrestle Charlotte 1v1, Dana's gonna be around to make sure, like, yo, that's my friend, that's my interest, that's my partner. Like, I'm not gonna let you like get a one up on her and stuff like that. And 2016 was a very beneficial time where at that point they were on Raw and they had gone through all the other women's matches, so all you had was Charlotte and Sasha. And then with Bailey getting called up as well, that also meant Bailey had to play a role and Dana had to play a role, which was very significant TV time for those women, where it wasn't really much else on Raw between the summer all the way till the end of the year, where Sasha comes out the picture and then Bailey elevates into the picture, and then it's Bailey's turn to try to go after Charlotte.
So, the thing I loved about this, and I wish it was more, because, and I remember Ric Flair kind of said on one of his shows that like it felt like it felt like Charlotte found her aunt, her aunt. Let my accent not kicking there. Um, I enjoyed the feud, like the team up, the duo. You know what I mean? Like I was there when Charlotte turned on Rick and like Dana was in the ring with them. I always felt that this could have went somewhere. This could have elevated into something bigger that would have eventually created a feud between them two, right? You look at, I mean, this is just like Pro Wrestling 101. A lot of times you see that one person, I hate to bring this guy in, but for the sake of the feud, because he did get a victory over this guy, Virgil and $1 Million Man. And shout out to Corey. Corey said it too. He was like, Dana and Charlotte was dropped too early. You know,
Facts.
it's one of those things that I felt like, with Virgil and $1 Million Man, it got you to the point everybody, and I was a child. Of course, I'm rooting for Virgil. He's the good guy in this sense, but everybody was rooting for Virgil. You know what I mean? And I felt like they could have done something with those two. It wouldn't have been hard to root for Dana especially considering the fact that Charlotte Flair is who she is, and it's like the nepotism of it all. So I wish they would have went there, especially you just look at what Charlotte Flair would become, and if she would have that one person like yeah, no, Mike just said like she could be a fire baby face. That was the time right there. That was the time to make her that on fire baby face.
Yeah, like look at this photo of like Dana and the wrestlers in the referee shirt. Can't you imagine a nice, beautiful women's championship around her waist? Because that I could actually see that to where like that makes perfect sense, and she could actually hold her own against anyone on that roster. Where you could have went this route.
No, facts, man, facts.
Seindole, what do you think about this?
Every time I think about this moment, it makes me mad because I felt like this. It disappointed me, honestly, because I thought this would have been the catapult to Dana's career. Because like you made her an ally in Charlotte. She did all this muscle work for Charlotte. Then, of course, and I put this on Charlotte. It's like Charlotte's typical behavior is to turn on anyone who pisses her off and doesn't get the job done, right? Typical heel thing. And then she becomes a face. And she actually stands up to Charlotte. And whether win or lose, I felt, okay, this is title picture material. This is main focus material. This is main matches materials. And again, flat.
See,
Why?
I have like a interesting take just from her promo a couple weeks ago. Like if she had said the promo she said a couple weeks ago, like during the time that we're talking after Charlotte turned on her, then it's like, okay, now I'm all locked in and actually put time into that feud. Even if Charlotte ended up getting the best of Dana Brooke, I feel like that could have made her in a way where we wouldn't be having this conversation, so many years later. Charlotte Flair is one of the most decorated women's champions in WWE of all time. And Dana Brooke was her, partner that got her to a lot of that. So the fact that that was not really capitalized on, the fact that that's never mentioned is very interesting, especially being that I think Dana Brooke has everything it takes to be a successful WWE superstar. I want to take a second to kind of give her some props in that department of just having what it takes, that background in gymnastics, that background in athleticism. Obviously, still being employed, she brings something to the table backstage. Hearing that she's mentored Bianca Belair, but and I would love people in the comments to tell us as well, what makes Dana Brooke a good WWE superstar? Why is she still on the roster? Why was she entangled with Charlotte Flair, Titus Worldwide? We'll get into all of this as well and all that stuff. Why is Dana Brooke so awesome?
Because she stands out. I look at the entrance where like she does that flip. I'm like, yo, how the hell she do that? Like I could do that 10 times out of 10. And you know how many times I'm gonna bust my head and break my neck trying to do that? 10 times out of 10. I'm just like,
between her and Charlotte, it must be nice. I was like, it must be nice. I have no balance, so I was just like,
and she makes it. She does it effortless. It's like, what are the secrets besides like genetics and just you're fucking awesome?
Right.
That's the airport test. You look at Dana Brooke walking up and down the street in the airport, in the mall. Whoa, she looks like she's somebody. She passes the airport test. She passes the hotel test. You may not, even if.
Wait, that's what's the hotel test? I'm so confused.
If you're in a hotel eating dinner or grabbing a drink and somebody walks past, you're like, wait, who's
that? She catches your attention in a way that a lot of people
don't. Somebody told me that I passed the hotel test and I was like, okay. Ooh, I didn't know what I had no clue what it meant.
The hotel or the airport test?
The hotel test. I didn't know what it meant. So now y'all have educated me, and I regret not calling a certain someone back. But that's besides the point.
Well, that went left.
Brian, I do think she definitely passes that airport test because she's fit. And she glows. She has something to her. That move, like you said, that flip, Justin, that you mentioned, it looks effortless. Do you know, like I started working out again, do you know the fucking core strength that you have to do what Dana Brooke does in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
I
Which why I give
literally
her props because I'm like, there's no fucking way I could, even in my prime, there's no way I could have pulled that off. And she does it, and she does it with ease.
she
I mean,
does.
you don't hear too many wrestlers, if any, complaining about her. Like when they leave WWE, right? You don't hear them
Right.
saying, "Oh no, you're not this good than the other." Ooh,
Let's
Oh,
get
let's
Corey,
sit back.
get into.
I mean, that's what he does. He's probably, that's what he does. It's funny. I don't know if he heard me mention about him bowling, so I wasn't sure if he was here yet.
so Corey at My Kicks or My Fix says Dana Brooke is becoming like an Al Snow in the wrestling industry, and that's an extreme compliment. She's a veteran that's needed on the roster. Natalia can't do anything. And the reason why I'm glad,
Everything.
shout out to you,
Facts.
Corey. I'm glad that you said that because it's a lot of what's done outside of the ring of why a lot of people respect Natalia, especially, and also Dana Brooke, where, like you said, that's not a bad thing. Having that veteran backstage that can work with anyone, you can depend on, you could throw her in the ring to show someone. She is on main event a lot. Some people may frown upon that, but she is a crucial part of the development of the women's division. Being able to, just like Natalia, being able to be like, okay, we'll put you on main event with Dana Brooke. That's a test. That is Dana Brooke being the kind of barometer of just like, okay, I can work with this girl because she is a veteran and she knows. And I think men in wrestling are more respected for that just because this is a new generation of women who actually know what the fuck they're talking about and have had opportunities. Again, we just said Dana Brooke was signed for 10 years, which shows you how far women's wrestling has gone. But people like Dana Brooke are important.
You need that person. Like in the, if you look at the men's roster, is basically the Miz and Ziggler that fill those roles. Where it's like when it's someone getting called up from NXT, when it's a new signing and they're wrestling in WWE for the first time, if they're guys, they usually wrestle the Miz or Ziggler, where you're gonna get that experience. You're gonna have a veteran that knows the ins and outs, that can do the mic work, that can do the ring work, that no one has ever said anything bad about them as far as their work, and they're gonna do everything they can to put you over. And Corey puts it perfect. Like Natty can't do everything, even though Natty is that person for the women, but she's for a long time she was looked at as like the only person that was able to do that. And then with Dana is able to inhabit that role, especially like on main event, where like Pete put it perfect. Like even though everyone doesn't watch main event, who do you think Xia Lee's wrestling? Who do you think Shotzi's wrestling? Who do you think Aaliyah's wrestling? Who do you think Raquel's wrestling? When Rhea got called up, who do you think Rhea crossed paths with? Bianca crossed paths with. You just had a crop of women to get drafted to Raw and SmackDown. Who do you think they'll be working with before that happened?
Right. Exactly.
Talk about it.
And just also being a WWE superstar as opposed to just a wrestler, there's a lot of other things to adapt to. There's the lifestyle, there's the travel, there's the locker room etiquette. Someone like Dana Brooke can mentor someone, take someone under their wing and be like, okay, men or women, and be like, okay, this is what you do, this is what you don't do, because she has had a lot of opportunities as well. She's been a part of a lot of fun things. And Dylan is right. Being anywhere on WWE TV is not a bad thing.
Especially with
It's
Dana's
really not.
background in
Anyway,
bodybuilding and fitness, where like you have the travel, you have the schedule, but you still got to find time for the gym. You still got to find time to eat correctly. You still got to find time to make sure you're
right. It's
presentable, and that's something that
tough.
Dana knows to a T.
Right.
Yeah. It's tough. Like I couldn't imagine. Like even like I could agree with Patricia because Patricia, like y'all know, I've been working out for a long time, and then some days where you're just like, yeah, you get that adrenaline pump, and then some time I'm like, you know what, go home. Like I'm tired, but like it's like to make it consistent is dedication, and like what Nipsey Hussle said, like dedication is motivation, and that's the key to hustle. So for me, it's just like she just needs to keep doing what she's doing, like keep hustling, because you have a whole fan base that looks at you. Like whether there's people that are opposing or not that looks at you and you're like, you know what, I could roll with this. Like this is someone that I'm gonna be rooting for because like they never gave up on themselves. And if the fans love like a good, I never gave up on myself or I never quit or never like, come on, it's what made John Cena the household name that he is. Like never give up, hustle, loyalty, and respect. As much as it's like touted, as much as literally the house that John Cena sits on. And I feel like it's the same way for her. Like no matter how long she's gonna be here, it's the same way for her. I really liked her with Titus O'Neil and Titus Worldwide. I
Let's
loved
get
it.
into her in Titus Worldwide because I do feel like, and I know I wanted to get into Mandy next, but I do want to follow this thread of Titus Worldwide because she was when I got back into wrestling heavy. That's who I knew Dana Brooke as, was like the pencil skirt, glasses, Titus Worldwide girl.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys remember from that? Did you guys, know watching it before being like, okay, so the girl that was with Charlotte, okay, now this is what she's doing. Okay, what were some of your thoughts while she was with that group?
She
I
dealt
feel
with
like
them really good.
she really blended
Like,
with them.
at first it was like, all right, so this is gonna be the partnership, but then you see it work, and it's like, yo, they got something with this with all three of them. Like the statistician, like, yo, you always need that person, and WWE for some reason they don't do managers where they keep them for a long time. Where it's like, yo, this is actually working. Go with this.
The span of it is like always a year or like between 8 months to a year that someone stays in a management fraction. The longest, I think the longest was the Hardy Boys and Lita, to be Team Extreme, to be quite honest. And then you have like, of course, we know the role of valet always rotates, but with her, it was just like a nice blend to see her with Titus. I feel like Titus is also one of those veterans that's always taking people under and it's like, listen, this is how we're gonna do this. It's gonna work. And then you have somebody like Apollo Crews, who's with her in that NXT brand. It blended so well. Like it wasn't something that was just thrown together. It actually, again, is chemistry.
Well, one of the things too, you gotta realize I'm not gonna say, he whose name shall not be named just because on my stream it usually something goes bad. But this was during that era. And I think honestly, if Titus Worldwide was happening now, it would be more successful. Just for the simple fact, you always gotta remember you got 3 hours of raw to fill,
Yeah.
And they were entertaining because
Mhm.
and that's the one thing I think the common theme about Dana Brooke is she puts entertainment. Like
That's
because
the
you
part I was gonna say is she delivers. That
Mhm.
comedic role, she went from being Charlotte Flair's lackey to also mixing it up with Ric Flair, which also should be noted as well.
Mhm.
She joins Titus Worldwide. She elevated them. There's a reason why managers, we talked about Sherry a couple of fan clubs ago, I believe, in elevate that manager elevating that. And that there's always a woman that were elevating that. And Dana Brooke did do that for Titus Worldwide, in my opinion. The clipboard, the glasses, the ponytail. She was rocking them fucking pencil skirts. Like she was fun in that.
Slade, boots down, tens across the board. She looked good in every single pencil skirt they gave her. Loved it.
Is
And the
yup.
slick back
Right.
ponytail, 10,
Always
10,
look good. And
10s.
then fans forget the company's name WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. The
Right.
E stands for entertainment. Yes, you need wrestling, but you also need entertainment because not everyone wants to watch just wrestling 24/7 without a story. You also need
Exactly.
that entertainment part, and that's something that they brought to the
Turn on Friday
table.
nights at 10 o'clock for that.
Why you gotta be
Ga, ga, ga.
shady?
Can we talk
Wait,
about
Justin. Pew 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 pew.
No, that wasn't pew pew. He took a bazooka and said, "Hapang!" Taking that.
Speaking of which, 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock, so you know what that
I'm
means.
done. How you segue into that?
we do watch Dynamite as a family, so turn on Dynamite and tune in, and don't leave the hashtag Dana Brooke Appreciation Night
Where
party and hashtag 2WG Fan Club.
is again one of those things where it's just like, okay, this is it. Like, even if she breaks up with, like, if they give her a title chance, she has them in her corner. It can't go somewhere. Mm,
Right. Can we get into
that's
Black
it.
Thought's comment here? Because I do love talking about the Divas era. If this was the Divas era, Dana would have been champ at least once. And I actually was thinking that earlier. I was watching a compilation of all her wins with a dear friend of mine, and I was like, wait a minute, like. Because I think about like a Beth Phoenix who like immediately stood out because she was just like different in every way. And Dana Brooke kind of has all of those tools to do that, especially people watching. Like, do you guys agree with Black Thoughts? Like, he's from Brooklyn, but we still respect his
We're
opinion.
not doing this tonight. We're
um
not. We're
do you
not.
100,
think that
We,
Dana would have been champion if she was in the Divas era?
I think so.
100,000%.
I think so.
Maria Kanellis, the gimmick, not Maria Kanellis, what we see now, but that Maria's gimmick was a champion. The cat
Mm,
was a champion.
Mm,
Deborah McMichael
mm.
was a champion. And Dana Brooke can wrestle, has a better move set than all of them. So yeah,
agree.
she would have been champion at least once. Probably would have had a run. I mean, honestly, if we want to really go a little bit further,
Go
if
there.
this is the Divas era, she'd have been on Maxim magazine like Kelly was,
Mm-hmm.
or she would have easily been on. They
She
would
would have
have
gotten a GQ
marketed.
spot.
I'm sorry, I don't want to go like on my like soapbox and stuff like that, but and this is what like what you said, Brian. Like the connotation at being on Maxim magazine is necessarily like might be a bad thing, or like not so like prestigious. Fuck that. Not everyone could be on Maxim,
I
but
was
Dana
going.
Brooke
This
could.
is
You know what I'm
true.
saying? Like,
This
okay,
is
yeah, like
true.
wrestling, okay, it's so serious. Okay, we fucking gatekeep, but like, not every bodybuilder can be on Maxim and also fucking kick ass in the ring. That's not
It's
easy.
once
Being
upon a
eye
time.
candy that also kicks ass is not
Mhm.
easy, and I'm so tired of that having like such a fucking negative connotation to it. I think of like a Summer Rae who played football in lingerie.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Okay,
an
but
actual league for that.
And they hit
A
no
hard.
padding.
No, they
legit
hit
league for
hard.
that.
Okay,
That
but
hit hard.
also look good doing it. That ain't
Mm-hmm.
easy. And
Yeah,
I'm
and I was gonna say also like muscle and fitness, but what I was gonna say was with the muscle and fitness part, WWE would have marketed more. It would have been all over the billboards, all over how they did the big rollout for Sable. They would have did that for Dana Brooke and Muscle and Fitness.
Listen, if they put
right,
Eva
right, right.
Marie in that magazine, Total Divas or not, like let's not and listen, I'll
I
die
like
on this
Eva
hill.
Marie.
Me too. I was gonna get there. Like I die on this hill. She had they let her actually wrestle, like she
Oh,
also would have been somebody that in the Divas area would have been a Divas championship. Like, hold on.
yeah,
Homegirl was trained with Brian Kendrick. Ain't no way you telling me you giving all that time and energy
right.
in Beyonce's world to make her just a regular person. No, she would have definitely been a champion. Dana and her probably would have had a fire ass match, like two bodybuilder bitches. They probably would have had like a promo scenario where they would have been flexing for a photo shoot, and then Eva gets
Yeah.
mad and they start fighting backstage. Look, see, I saw the vision. I seen it. I was manifesting it.
Vision. Wait,
I
so I
seen
want
it.
to pivot really quickly to her tag team with Mandy Rose. Because
Mm-hmm.
on paper it made so much sense.
Ooh.
Like I didn't expect it to, and I didn't
And
like
their matching outfits for everything.
like
I'm sorry.
I was really into this. Was anyone else into this? I think they were trying to brand it like sexy muscle friends or something like that, but I was into it.
Sexy muscle. You have beautiful blonde sitting right there as a tag team
Yes,
name.
blonde power. It was like if Barbie had duplicated herself, but was also super athletic. I mean, Barbie could do everything, so that's the generic skew. But like, just everything. Like, it's one thing to be a tag team. It's another thing to be a tag team, have the same hair, have the same look, have the same verbal speech, have the like everything. And remember, this was during the what is it called during the pandemic? I forgot what they called the dome.
The Thunderdome or
Yes,
PCR?
in the Thunderdome era, this was perfect because there wasn't anybody heckling them. There wasn't like any awkwardness. Like they were into their both of them. If we talk about chemistry, they were very comfortable with each other, and that comfortability transferred into their matches and into their promos. They were very good together.
I agree.
Facts.
They missed the opportunity to make them women's tag team titles.
One
Like,
thousand percent.
like they were so coordinated. Everything they did, they matched each other. It was like they screamed women's tag team champions. Even though the company went in a different direction, it's just like, bro, how did you fumble this?
It
Right.
would have been
Like the
like
same
Lay
way, like the
Cool with
Iconics made
blondes.
perfect sense.
Mhm.
Dana
Yeah.
and Mandy just made perfect sense with each other.
And
They would
You know,
have been like the Lay Cool, but with blonde hair matching outfits.
right.
you think back to what? All right, so they was tag team champions during the. I mean, they was the tag team round, the Natalia and Tamina era, if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken.
And
It,
also Shayna and Nia.
Shayna and Nia, yeah. There was room. There was definitely room for them to get the goal, and I think it would have been fun to watch them as the tag team. And you, like you said, just really could have just established that tag team division again. It's a see. I don't do this publicly, but fan club idea, things that could be purpose that was in the previous era under the
Yep.
new regime,
Yep.
we bring that to the forefront
Brian
because that's
idea,
one of them.
you just made the list. There you go. That just made the list.
Justin, put it in the
Put it
notes.
on the list. Just
I'm
write
just
it in
Justin
the
sitting
is
here.
notes.
here. Tell Justin put it in the
That's
notes.
like one of those ideas that crank while you talking, and I'm like, man, like if you just think about that, and so many, we've mentioned how many balls was dropped with Dana Brooke alone. So now you think
Right.
about in other aspects, right? And them being a tag team champions, it just would have helped establish the vision. And then, I mean, shoot. I mean, for all intents and purposes, for all we know, maybe in 6 months, Mandy Rose will be back and we'll get a reunion. Um, that would be great. Cause
Manifesting?
do it.
Manifesting. I mean,
Yes,
it would be
because
the perfect time because we're all rooting for Dana right now, and Mandy Rose. It wouldn't be a terrible thing for her to come back with all this momentum she has, like revisit it.
and we
Hmm.
had a fan club where we gave Mandy Rose her flowers and basically talked about the growth of her going back to NXT, honing her craft, becoming NXT Women's Champion, and just the overall development to where that was so great for her and her career. Where like you bring her back now and have her team up with Dana, phew.
It's a
See,
wrap.
I was about to ask you, about to say something, then I realized the answer to the question because I was gonna say, what if Dana went to the back to NXT? But then again, the reason you wouldn't, for the same reasons we brought up earlier, and the reason Koya brought up, like the same reason why Apollo Crews will always have a job, is because you need her in there getting people ready. You need somebody in there that you could trust with a good match, and that's Dana Brooke.
For sure. And Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke teaming up as a tag team, it could really have worked as a heel tag team too because they represent what everyone kind of quote unquote hates about WWE, prioritizing like the busty blonde girl. So like have
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
two of them pair up and then just like take over shit. Like it could have been done really well with like the nuances of how people look at women's wrestling, low key.
Like you just were talking about like Maxim and stuff like that, and there's a generation that doesn't realize like getting on the Maxim top 100 was a big ass deal back
Right.
Yep.
in those days.
Oh,
Just like
yes.
getting the cover of Sports Illustrated was a big ass deal back in those days. Just like people have a vision of Playboy, but even Playboy, that was a
Like for you
humongous
to become a
fucking deal to get
Playboy
those.
bunny, for you to become a Playboy bunny and actually have a feature spread
Right.
in Playboy was not light work. Like it, despite its history, it was like kind of like not even. I want to equivalent it to being at the highest self of publicity because think of all the people that were in Playboys, the Pam Andersons, the all these allies people, and same thing with like Sports Illustrated, like the swimsuit edition. Think of all the models and stuff that have been on like
Hmm.
all the features they had. Like it wasn't small. It wasn't, even though it's rooted in misogyny. Some people, it's not a easy thing to be on. It's
Right.
not easy.
It's
Right.
like winning a title.
Exactly.
It's like,
Agreed.
did you get the cover of Maxim? No, I did. Did you get the cover of Sports Illustrated? No, I did.
Right.
Word. That's a boost.
1,000%. It
That's
is
a
a boost.
boost.
I
I'm
want to
throwing
get
that magazine left and
into
right if it was me. I'm sorry. I'm like, you get
yo,
one, you get one. I'm tearing it out in the
yo.
airport. I mean, listen.
I want to get into Black Thought's comment because I haven't really thought about this because I always thought of Dana Brooke in the context of WWE. But he says, since we're on Dana Brooke today, if Dana wants a chance, she should take a chance on herself and leave the company.
Mm,
I don't
no,
see it.
I don't see
Uh,
it. Not a lot of people are gonna leave the house that built them.
bingo. I
Uh-huh.
mean, and then look what like all right. So you look at like what AEW is doing. Nothing with their ladies, and then looking at Impact. Yeah, Trinity's over there, but she's building.
Yeah,
She's
she's the
building
star
stuff.
of the show right now.
Yeah, and I just can't see. And then like the money in WWE is different and better,
Yeah,
and it's stable paycheck. So, and
and
just these
it's
opportunities. I'm sorry, real quick, but just these opportunities like that she's getting that we mentioned at the top of the show. Being on the PBA tours and stuff like that, being an ambassador. And you just like kind of like what we see with Titus O'Neil, you see with Dana Brooke.
yeah. I feel like and it's good that you said that, Brian, because I don't know if anybody remembers. I know we put her name in the box. I'm gonna go with double R. That's what we're gonna call her going forward. What stuck with me with Dana was she had just had the feud done. She just disaligned herself with Titus Worldwide. She did the a couple of battle royals, lost that. Had a couple more feuds, lost that, and then she confronted Ronda Rousey. And to me, it was very much like that promo she gave on that Raw. I think
Mhm.
it was Raw. I can't. It's gonna come to my head. That promo she gave stuck on me like glue because it was very much like people wanted it to be like a pipe bomb with AJ Lee, but it was more like it. You could tell it was personally rooted in her. Like it was her frustration of like, here you come in here, you don't appreciate much. All you do is complain. You come out here in your mic on your soapbox and you complain, and here I am busting my ass, making opportunity for myself. Grinding all my life, hustle pay the price, and you stay here bitching. Like we not gonna have that. And she kind of, I mean, she get Dana gave her, you know, she gave her that work, like that
Right.
mic work, and it was just like, damn. Like I think a lot of that now, when I look back at that promo, a lot of the stuff with her participating outside the company, doing like the campaigns and doing the community stuff, that didn't happen until that promo because it was like maybe somebody in the back realized like, okay, we've given all our resources to make this superstar. And we can't put her in a title picture yet, but what else are we doing with her? And then all this stuff just started blowing up for her. Like I started seeing her in more commercials with WWE and doing outreach. I started seeing her visit these schools and do these appearances and, go to these. Oh, she went to an award show. Actually, she went to an NBA game.
Mhm.
And then I think she met like a boyfriend at the time. She was dating a
Enos
Knicks player.
Cancer.
Enos
Yes.
Cancer Freedom.
Yeah, freedom. I
Yes.
forgot the freedom.
She started being they started pushing her out more and I was like, okay, the promo the promo went somewhere. So,
I like
And
that
if I could,
last thought.
and if I could jump in like real quick to like Black Thought's point, like I hear you on the take a chance on yourself and leave, but that doesn't work for everyone. There's a reason why it's a roll of the dice because leaving the company, yes, it's easy, bet on yourself, but sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side. And we've seen it many a times, not just recently, but like in the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years, even with the guys, like that doesn't always
Mhm.
work out. And they usually come back where it didn't hit like it was supposed to.
Right.
You were maybe meant for
Mhm.
just this role and whatnot.
What's
And
Right.
my
and
guy's
a
name?
perfect
Dexter
like
Loomis.
and sometimes it's better to just stay where you're at. Like the
Right.
perfect case of
Mm,
this is Becky Lynch. Like think of where Becky Lynch was in 2017 before 2018 before the man. Before she decided to really change some things up and really go with this man thing where she was kind of stuck in a rut. She was nowhere in
right.
the title picture. She was on battle royals with everyone else. She was losing left and right to other people, whether it was Carmella or Alexa or Charlotte. And then she
Mhm.
took the chance on herself of like, you know what, I need to reinvent something because this ain't working. But she stayed put, reinvented as the man. That ended up taking off, and you see where Becky Lynch is at today. But
Right.
if you look back then, where it's
Right.
like maybe she should have been on herself and left. Like, what would have happened if Becky Lynch left WWE at that point where she was at her lowest?
And I think like it culminates like a recipe. what works for some people definitely don't work for everybody. I think people get so wrapped up in like
Right,
the
right,
Drew McIntyres and the Bobby Lashleys and the Dina Peraltas and all these people that up and leave in their notoriety. They've already built the house that they sit on and their fan base follows them. Well, can we say that the same thing wouldn't happen for Dana Brooke? Yes, but sis is happy where she's at. Like you don't see
right.
her complain, and then who's to say never say never? We can get off this whole episode, and then all of a sudden, because Rhea Ripley has nobody else, boom, mind you, keep in mind Rhea Ripley eliminated her in the Royal Rumble at one point. So who's to say we not going to revisit that? Like never say never at all.
Right, right.
For
And I
every
think
Cody Rhodes,
too,
there's a Ty Dillinger. Keep that in mind.
Oh
that
Lord.
point too, and I also just don't want to downplay what that means, being that she thrives in WWE as opposed to other companies, just off of that other point of WWE is not just a wrestling company. There's a lot more outside of the ring opportunities and inside of the ring and TV time, if you think about it, just like numbers wise. And Dana Brooke is always on the press tours. She's always visiting cities and doing that type of outreach work that a lot of people aren't doing. And that's the ambassadorship that keeps WWE in business. We brought up Titus O'Neil. No, he's not going to be world champion tomorrow. No, nobody misses him in the ring. But guess what? When WWE needs to be represented somewhere around the world, they send Titus O'Neil. And Dana Brooke is one of those people that can do that. So no, I don't see Dana Brooke wrestling outside of WWE, but I don't think that's a bad thing because I really do feel like there's a lot of opportunity there outside of that. And even if she were to leave WWE tomorrow, I do feel like she has a lot to offer this business and this industry, even if that doesn't mean she's all elite, if that makes sense. Like Dana Brooke has
Mm-hmm.
a lot to give.
And when was the last time you seen Titus O'Neil in a wrestling ring? Wrestling.
No, but he's booked and busy. I bet you that.
He's booked
That
and
part.
busy. He's too booked. Like that's what I'm saying. Like there's nothing wrong with being seen in that light.
Right.
Like to be booked and busy, to get paid, to go to watch bowling and be an ambassador and represent the company, no problem with that. To watch basketball, another wrong with that. To cross over sports, and then considering what WWE is trying to do, like now that they have this deal with Endeavor, I'm not gonna lie, I'd rather be doing that than doing nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Right.
I'd rather
Right.
be booked. Like, you want me to sit here and be cute and show face and smile while this person's fighting in UFC? Fine. I'll take these ringside seats and put WWE on the Holy Grail, or do this, or do like amazing community things with children, or visit a school in Brooklyn.
Right.
Shout out to the wrestling club. I listen, sign me up. I don't see the issue with that, and maybe that's where she's at. This is a career that everybody dreams of. Because imagine being the person that has this career versus the person who has this career and not doing nothing with it. Like she's doing
Exactly.
a lot. She's doing a lot, and people don't give her credit for that, but I give her credit for that because that's the dream. That's like some people's dream career ain't everybody's dream career or position.
Exactly. Because again,
Word, Google that net worth.
WWE, right? WWE is a global billion dollar entertainment business. It's not a wrestling business. So Dana Brooke can really make a living, doing what she's doing. Of course, her passion is inside the ring and she has passionate fans. I want to see her do more, but I would hope that she's fulfilled doing everything that she is doing. I want to take a quick break, but before that, I do want to, well, what I want to get into after break is her comedic chops, because especially being involved in that company, you have to know how to entertain. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people were saying it in the comments and on that tweet of just how entertaining she can be on TV. Her things with Reggie. We'll get into the 24/7 championship absolutely after this break. Let's get into some of those things and some of what makes Dana Brooke special right after this break.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Krista B, one half of those wrestling girls, and we hope that you're enjoying this current episode that we have for you. You know, I had to come in here, interject, and plug ourselves real quick. We want to tell you about our merch exclusively on foryourwear.com. That's right, For Your Wear has all of those wrestling girls merch that you want and need, not only for yourself, but for your friends, your family, and your loved ones. We have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have tank tops. So please go over to foryourwear.com to make sure you get those exclusive merch, those exclusive deals, and tell them that TWG sent you.
Love that throwback theme song. It is so good. Shout out to my sis, my other half, Krista B, Blue, and foryourwear.com. And Justin, who
go get your merch.
in the merch.
Go get your
That
merch.
pink hoodie is so dope. I fucking love it. If you have not gotten your hoodie, make sure you get that. Oh, and that shirt. All three of you guys, I must say, have looked really good in the merch. I love
And
it.
the hoodie is
you
nice
wanna
and
know-
comfortable.
You want to know how you know you're Hollywood? You have merch on For Your Wear, because
Oh yes.
just saying.
And
Not one, but some people have two. Cough, cough.
What did a wise man once say? Yesterday's price is not today's price.
that part, new merch coming, so be on alert. So I'm glad we are back from that break. I do want to get into some of Dana Brooke's entertaining moments because she was a part of the women's evolution essentially, and she was involved in a lot of firsts, including like Money in the Bank. She was in the first Women's Royal Rumble and all that kind of stuff. But do you guys remember her during like that 2020 Money in the Bank match?
Yo, that was funny.
That
It
was
was.
funny.
I mean, anytime you get a on-screen time with Stephanie McMahon, it's always amazing.
Big deal.
But you know, I don't care what anybody says. Like you're on the screen with the boss. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoyed that match too. I was just a little upset she didn't win. You know, I thought that would have been a good shakeup, but yeah, her grabbing the belt inside the briefcase inside the office.
So funny.
It was.
It's like we lose track of it because it's the pandemic and this is the PC era. But yeah, that was one of those that's like we needed some form of entertainment since outside was closed. And man, did the fucking women deliver, all of them. But Dana especially, where it's like I remember that stuff. You're just like, what the hell?
I had to work twice as hard because it's not like you said, everything was closed. It wasn't like, you know, like now what's this weekend of wrestling. You're probably gonna have your screens open, like watching baseball at the same time while you're watching wrestling. If you go to a bar, same thing. You was at home. The only thing you might have been else was doing was working, but you was at home watching one thing. And like you said, she delivered along with the other ladies.
Mm-hmm.
She did. And because it was a cinema match, as they would say, like there was no crowd, it was a tape match. You had to bring the funny, you had to bring the entertainment. You didn't have the crowd to feed off of. And Dana Brooke had so many fun moments.
Y'all got to act a fool in Titan Tower. Like that's something that as a fan, like we all like. Can we do that once where we just act a fool in Titan Tower to where Stephanie or Vince are just like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
It's like real life action figures being able to play outside, like, because remember the first set of WWE action figures, they actually had Titan Towers as like a set, and the ring was like at the bottom, so people were like, you could take your action figure and like have it jump off of Titan Towers into the ring, even though that's like something you shouldn't be promoting, but it was a thing. So like for that to happen, you to be a wrestler and actually live that again, like goals. I think is what half of us want to be superstars regardless.
And then like most of us will never get to tour Titan Tower, so that was like our behind. Like we're taking a look behind the curtain and like, oh shit, they actually have this room, they got that room. Oh, this is what this looks like. Oh, that's what Vince's office looks like. Like y'all have my attention at a time where we needed this.
No, I enjoyed her in that. Can we also just get into? I want to just take a long time, not a long time, but I want to talk about her 24/7 championship run because we
First off,
actually did. Yeah, she did fun things with the 24/7 championship. We actually did an episode on that championship. I was doing a deep dive because we were like, how fun would that be if the women got more involved? And then not too long after that, Dana Brooke, she and Reggie were doing funny things. Do you guys remember Dana Brooke in the 24/7 championship? How did you guys feel about it?
I mean, what, she was 15, 16-time champion.
As of Wikipedia, 15 time.
Yeah, 15-time champion.
15-time 24/7 champion. Like, you may not look at it as a world champion, but she held that. That's a long time. She held it down.
Dude, not for nothing. That whole angle, it makes me funny because y'all remember the double wedding?
Yes.
Son, that was
Let's get into it.
we could get into it. I just thought, like, mind you, I stand Reggie in this household. Like, even with him, whether it going on with him at NXT, now he's back at NXT. But when him and Dana Brooke had like a love story, could be the only person I was like, Reggie, what are you up to? What you doing? Like, she won a title. I said, but you with her now? What you doing? Like, what are you up to? Can't be no good. And they got as far as like getting married, and then you had Tamina involved, and then like you had, like, mind you, this was the most, if you could have a Vegas wedding WWE style, this would be that wedding, because you had Sasha involved, you had Trinity involved, you had R-Truth as the like it was just like one big clusterfuck, but it was a funny clusterfuck. But and then I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, what's the point of this wedding? And then like you see her jump from the top rope and everybody's getting pinned left and right. And I'm just like, this has to be the most interesting post-pandemic segment of wedding on Raw that I've ever watched in my entire life. And I loved it 1000%. And I appreciate all the players in this play. Tyler Perry couldn't do it, but y'all did that. It was just good. It was just too good.
R-Truth as the minister.
Yo, and back to again what makes her so good for WWE. If you have a wrestling wedding, I think you like cemented yourself in WWE history.
Yo, facts. I mean, what you got her, you got Crystal Marshall, you got Miss Elizabeth, you got Stephanie McMahon, Lita.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I might be missing Dawn Marie.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that should be a Shoot Fire Hall of Famer, right?
Right.
You have
Who was the shortest title reign for the 24-hour championship? That needs to be also an episode on Fan Club.
I would love to dive into that. It has to be seconds at this point because people were like flip flopping that shit all over the place.
Now let's be real. As content creators, don't act like y'all ain't have visions of becoming a 24/7 champion. I mean, when you started seeing NASCAR,
I was hoping, like, Noki, you want to hear the weirdest dream that I have, but now the 24 championship's not around. I can tell it real quick. So I had this dream one time, right, that we all went to WrestleMania. We first heard Philly, so we all went to WrestleMania, and then Patricia and Krista were like on the screen with like Charlotte Flair, and then like R-Truth still had a 24-hour championship, and Krista's like, yo, what's up, can we take a picture, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I come and I just kick R-Truth in the head, and then you see Patricia just kind of cover R-Truth, and Patricia became the 24-hour champion. And I was like, I woke up in the middle of it, I'm like, all right, I need a break from wrestling. Like, I was like, I need a break if this is what my life has come to. And then that, like, it was funny because the same night, that was when Nikki like tossed it in the trash, which pissed me off. But I was like, that would have been dope,
glad you brought that up.
But it was like, the way it was funny, I was like, I just like karate kicked R-Truth out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden Patricia just comes in and swoops on the win, and then we're like holding the belt on Fan Club, and then I just woke up out my dream. It was weird. It was all over the fucking place.
I feel like Brian H. Waters asked that question because he's imagined himself winning.
I mean, I don't blame him. Once you saw Rosenberg win the title, I was like, yo, anything is possible.
Word. Rosenberg won the title.
Like MLB Network, I think, or NHL Network won it. Fox Sports won it.
Yeah, he pulled it up.
Then what's the guy that's in UFC that always ends up on WWE. Daniel something. I
Cormier.
Daniel
forgot his name.
Cormier.
Yes, he won it too, didn't he?
I think so.
He might have.
Everyone won it.
We need an
Everybody's
episode on
won
this
it
belt.
But to bring it
except
back
for
to
the crew.
like
That's it.
but to bring it back to
Right.
Dana and Reggie, like to let the chat know, I was actually watching this before we came on live for this show, and like the thing I did not remember about this
Mhm.
whole Dana and Reggie and the wedding stuff, even though it was only last year, which I blew my mind because like, wait, this was last year? This felt like this was like 3 or 4 years ago. But so much has happened in wrestling since. But like the
Right.
layers on it, because this started with everyone knows our Truth and everything with our Truth and the 24/7 title. And then you see Dana getting involved and you see like the levels were like, all right, Reggie's gonna have her back and this and that, but while everyone's coming for her, and then like as the weeks progress, you see the relationship with Reggie and Dana progress to where, yo, now let's incorporate Tozawa, let's incorporate Tamina
Yep.
into this, and that's how you get the double wedding stuff where now Tozawa's going after Tamina just like Reggie's going after Dana, but then Dana's got the title and everyone's trying to come after Dana in this title.
It's a
Our Truth's got to
mess.
play mediator, and then mediator turns like, I'm gonna be the guy who officiates this wedding, and then the wedding. Seindole undersold this. This wedding is fucking hilarious.
It's
Like,
I did not. I gave the best without like busting out in laughter because every time I think about that wedding, I like crack myself the hell up. Like this like Jerry Springer walks so this wedding could run. I swear to God, this was like a full blown mile down Jerry Springer moment. It was hilarious, minus like all the weird stuff that Jerry Springer used to have going on. But it literally gave that. It gave you like a PG version of what the like Attitude Era was. Remember all those weird, crazy segments in the Attitude Era that you remember? Like we had weddings in the Attitude Era. We had people. The Hardcore Championship, perfect example. That was the Attitude Era. So when you watch that wedding, it was like the perfect blend of both. It was like a PG version of Hardcore and the Attitude Era, and I loved it. Oscar-worthy performance for your
just to
consideration.
hear our Truth just call Dana Brooke Dana Brooks, and then just Dana be like, Truth,
Lord,
Brooke,
yo, he had me at that. I couldn't even
Brooke.
take that shit after that. She has been so funny. I was looking up gifts and like the dance contest, like she was involved in that as well. Like there was so many different things, so many opportunities that she had. Really quickly, how did you guys feel about them throwing that in the trash? I know Brian H. Waters, you were able to interview her, I think, in LA or
I
produce an
produced
interview
it.
with her. Yeah. How did she feel about that? And how did you guys do you think they could have done more with it? You know, she did a lot with it on TV.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah, it wasn't good. You know, and she said this on record to Shoemaker and Kaz, like, you know, I was like, oh yeah, throw it in the trash, and you know, it's like she took pride in being 24/7 champion.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like, you can say what you want about the title. It was entertaining, and like you said, I mean, it's just so many different moments. I mean, you had legends coming back winning it, and you know, for them to just discard it like that, it was like, all right, y'all ain't had to do that, because at the end of the day, you was never going to be so much of a wrestling company that you wasn't going to have an entertainment factor, right? You know, so that was the thing, and I felt the same way. You know, as much as I like Nikki Cross, I mean, she was just kind of like the person who had to do it, right? You don't hold that against her. You know, it's like, because I mean, she was a 24/7 champion at one point. You know,
she could have aimed better. And then didn't even
that
get the trash
part.
can. How you miss the trash can?
That's what
right
made
there.
it worse. In all honesty,
It did make it worse, yo.
that's exactly what made it worse. Like, come on now.
Dakota looked at that belt like, oh, like sis, you know, you never mind, we're walking. Like the way Dakota, it's bad. It's really bad.
It had to get discontinued at some point. It was, you know, the whole, you know, story aspect does get old after a while. But there's a way to discontinue a championship without throwing it in the trash on TV. Like, you know, especially because that was one of the ways that Dana Brooke's fans were able to see her on TV was have fun with this championship. A wrestling wedding, I feel like that's a milestone that any sports entertainer wrestler, like to have a wedding like angle, a love trial, like that is super cool for like Dana Brooke. And again, just, you know, noting how many people she's defeated, how many moments in the women's evolution she's been a part of, like some of the notable wins that Dana Brooke has over women that a lot of people don't. We talked about the Baileys, Carmella, Alexa Bliss.
Yep.
Wait, let me see. Has she beaten everyone in the? No, I don't think she has. Let's see.
And the
Has
four
she beat
horsewomen,
everyone in the Four Horsewomen?
she didn't pin Sasha.
No, she didn't get
She
Sasha
hasn't
or
been
Charlotte.
Sasha or Charlotte. Okay. But this is a pretty good list. And having that dependable hand is not easy. So I just want to also just shout out her for all of these victories.
There's a lot of Hall of Famers and future Hall of Famers on this list.
Yeah, there really,
Mhm.
really is. So shout out to Dana Brooke for this and just being that kind of anchor that's
It's
followed things
stacked.
along. It
She's
is
got,
really
if you pull it back
stacked.
up, she has veterans, legends. She has veterans, legends, future freaking superstars. Three of the people on there on the main, two of the people on there now. Indy Hartwell is up there, Zoe Stark, who everybody just got to see at the Royal Rumble. Like, this is a pretty
Yep.
stacked list of people to beat. And it's
And
not to
she's the
go unnoticed.
star of main event also at that point. Like when you're able to find that niche within the company and dominate it like the 24/7 championship, she did that very well. I want to know, we talked a lot about her past. I'm glad we were able to talk about a lot of her victories and what she has been able to do and a lot of opportunities she has had with the company. But I want to ask everyone in the fan club tonight, the crew and the people in the comments, what is
Mhm.
truly next for Dana Brooke? What is
Honestly,
like the most, tangible thing that's next?
a repackage. A repackage. I would say, if she got like super pissed off or some sort of cocky attitude, because then it's like, I mean, that might be hard to believe, because like, I mean, you look at somebody like Dana Brooke, she's genuinely a nice person. So, but if you, the reason why I say like, just a repackage into such a character that's just so annoying, but then I think you tap back into the pencil skirt version, you know, maybe tap back into Titus Worldwide. Well, let's try it again. I mean, Apollo's up on the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
Titus ain't doing anything. Try it again. Try it with this regime.
Right. And remember what we talked about when we talked about the Mandy Rose appreciation night. Like, being sent back to NXT is not like what it used to be. You go from, I think people confused it with what it was like to be sent back down to OVW, because we know about how a lot of the older wrestlers felt about that. Like, a lot of talent, like Big Show and Mark Henry, were sent back when OVW was very much on the rise, and they felt like it was kind of a demotion. But with NXT, this is kind of like you're not fired. We just want
Mhm.
more out of you, though. And that's what a lot of wrestlers taking. Like, a look at what Mandy Rose did. She took that and skyrocketed, unfortunately, before everything happened. You look at people like Apollo Crews. You look at people now, even Reggie. Like, Reggie's in the really big storyline. He's back down at NXT. Like, we look at Drew. I want to say his name wrong. I hate when I do that. Gurlek.
Drew Gulak.
Gulak, like he went from wrestling Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan's not there anymore. Daniel Bryan is considered him one of the best grappling opponents of this generation. Now he's back down to NXT. So none of it's like, it's not as frowned upon as it used to be. So if she does end up back at NXT, I would love it. I'm still gonna watch it, because like then that just means, again, she's not down. She's just still in the running, and now she has this chance to be even better. Because imagine her being the NXT Women's Championship.
Yep.
I think it would be a great run.
I really agree with you, Seindole. I was thinking about that lately too, of her going back to NXT, because the draft kind of took all of the established stars right now from that brand, and Dana Brooke will be a perfect veteran to go down there and sort of like anchor that and help that talent. And I just want to welcome Nikki Bougie. Like, she is also a big Dana Brooke fan, and we did talk about how she helped Charlotte Flair and
Happy
how
belated
it is
birthday.
not talked about enough. But I think make her Dana Brooke going back to NXT, making a strong impact or like debut could work wonders.
Ooh.
I could see that. And you guys make some.
This is a
And you,
goodie.
I mean, we're gonna have to
Nikki
stay
says
tuned and
Dana
see.
may have a title.
Word. I'm thinking it's her and another person. But I was like thinking that it's her and one other person that I have in mind that might have done that.
That
But
would be good.
that would
Well,
be lit.
if she doesn't go back to NXT and you guys have some great visions for Dana, I kind of want to see her go after this women's tag team title. I know we talked stuff about the women's tag team championship belts, and we just discussed earlier how Dana really is like a tag team specialist. And there's a story right there where it's like outside of the 24/7 championship, she's always been around this women's tag team title picture, but never got to hold the belt. And that could be her story where it's like, I keep coming across this path of this belt that keeps eluding me, whether it's like, regardless of what partner I have, I'm it's like we're almost kind of made for each other, but we just can't get on the same road and we can't get on the same path for some reason. I would love to see her grab a partner and finally get this belt where she like outside of the 24/7 title, like the times where she's actually fought for titles has been for the women's tag team titles, and she's lost many a times. So I would love for her to finally be like, finally, after all these years, after all these matches, after all these L's, I finally got something that really has eluded me, and I got to do it with a partner where we
Right.
talked about the tag team special stuff where like all the different partners she's had in her history, that would be like a full circle moment of like many years finally culminates with this. And then she can make her and said partner can make the tag team title something that really haven't had in a minute. Since like
Right.
Sasha and Naomi, since Sasha and Bailey, and she could be like, I'm gonna make this my thing. Because Rhea's gonna have that title for a minute, possibly. Bianca's had that title for over a year. I'm gonna make this mine, this women's tag team title. And if I don't do the NXT route, this will be mine. And she can grab a partner, and that could be their path.
Yep. How do you guys feel about this one comment from Nikki? Dana should have at least one reign. Folks were dying to give Liv a title. That energy should be given to Dana.
The energy's
Do
not
you-
forgotten. That energy is definitely not forgotten, though. Like, I feel like if, like I said, my hopes is that, like, with somebody giving somebody a long reign with Rhea Ripley and not just a toss and match, it would be Dana.
Yeah.
In my fair opinion, it'd be Dana.
Yeah.
Like if they're gonna try and get like Rhea this cooling off period from like Sasha, and from or this cooling off period from Charlotte, or if Bailey decides that she's tired of damage control and decides like, hey, I kind of want my belt back by myself, Rhea give it to me. I think Dana will be next in line. I don't count her out. I think a lot of people try and I'm not counting her out. I think she's gonna have a belt at some point. Within the next, I'm calling it now. We're talking a year and a half within this period. I'm calling it.
I mean,
Okay,
Santa's right. You
okay.
can't count it out because look at Liv. Like Liv looked like she was stuck in neutral for God knows how long. You saw the disassemblance of the Riot Squad where Ruby and Sarah go on to different things, and then all of a sudden she wins Money in the Bank, and then all of a sudden she catches on Ronda Rousey, and then all of a sudden she becomes SmackDown Women's Champion, and you see where Liv went from there. That could easily be Dana.
Right.
Yep. I completely agree. And also that part about Dana Brooke and Charlotte having unfinished business. What's really cool about where Charlotte Flair is right now, too, is if she wanted to do that and put her energy behind possibly elevating Dana Brooke in a feud, WWE has the storytelling skills to do it. Put a little package together, throw some 2016
And
clips up in there. We'll be invested.
and Dana owes Charlotte many receipts because Charlotte did not treat Dana nicely during that run at times. So Dana be like, I ain't forget about 2016 and 2017. You are owed.
You
Definitely.
are old.
Rent's due, and I'm here to collect.
We
Pay
collect.
me my coin.
So Money in the Bank is coming up after Night of Champions. I think that's the next PLE.
Yep.
We talked about kind of how she made a start. I know she trended and people were entertained by her in that 2020 match, and she's done a lot. How do you guys feel about her possibly winning the briefcase?
You honestly can't rule it out because honestly, WWE needs someone with that briefcase that's going to hold it for a minute because part of the problem with the women's Money in the Bank, they automatically cash in within the next 24 hours, either whether it's the same night or the next night on Raw. They need someone to kind of hold that belt. And I could see Dana winning the belt, holding it, and making it her own and doing something with it, a la what Carmella used to do with the Money in the Bank briefcase, where she could tease a cash in, but no, I don't feel like doing it tonight, or I'll send Ellsworth out there and she made that belt her own before she finally cashed in on Charlotte. And I could see the same route where Dana makes that briefcase her own. She could tease it and be like, Bianca, don't forget I got this. Rhea, don't forget I got this. Charlotte, if
Like
you
I
want to
have
come
your
back,
numbers.
yeah, I got you on speed dial. If Charlotte wants to come and take a title, cool. Guess what? I also got this.
True.
I don't think it's too far fetched, but I don't see it happening to be honest with you. But I think it would be a perfect rebuild. I always want to see it happening just because I see they got so many stars they just brought up. So like I could see a Mia Yim, I could see a Zoe Stark winning. I just don't see it in Dana Brooke right now. Prove me wrong. I have actually another spot for her.
What's up?
Be with Trish Stratus. Trish
But
Stratus
like
got a
as her
handful.
muscle.
I
But
mean,
but
she
we're
could do all
all
the dirty work, you
right.
know.
But we're tired of her being someone's muscle now.
But if she's with Trish Stratus on screen with
Talk
her, think
about
How
about
many
all
people could say they
elevation.
get to work with Trish Stratus?
I want
Without
Trish
saying
Stratus
she
to
elevation.
has
be
to
her
do it.
muscle.
Think about all the stuff Trish Stratus does outside of the ring. Think about the Instagram photos. Think about when Trish Stratus,
Hmm.
Nikki, what do you mean?
Nikki.
But Nikki, damn,
No,
Nikki.
Not yet,
Really?
Nikki.
You
Not
I'm ready
yet.
for
tired
Trish
too,
Stratus to
Trish
Nikki?
be.
ain't the rub that people think. Elaborate. I'm curious, and I
I'm ready
think
for
I
her to be my
understand a little
champion.
bit about what Nikki is saying about that.
Explain yourself, Nikki.
However, if Trish is staying around and she's gonna be a heel and she has that connection and mic skills, Dana Brooke has a little bit that maybe Trish has and she doesn't. That could be the elevation that Dana Brooke could use. I don't know. Oh, she said she's been tired since 2019.
And what you could do is
Nikki.
Trish could be like, she takes the L to Becky, is like, damn, I can't get over the hump with or Trish could be like, I can't get over the hump with Becky, but you know who can? Dana, because you bring up that list again and be like, yo, you know who has a win over Becky Lynch? Dana Brooke. You've been here longer than I have. You've been facing people more recently. You're more traversed to where you could handle this, and I
Yeah.
got your back.
I see
And
I
again,
like I said,
anything Trish does is attention. Like
Right.
Trish
right.
gets outside of wrestling attention, where like she could just post a photo and be like, "Oh shit, she's wrestling again. Okay, I gotta tune in. I gotta
This is
pull up."
true. Like I feel like has she ever wrestled? I know Lita got a good reaction in Riyadh and Jihad, but has Trish ever been to Saudi Arabia?
This will be the
This will be
first.
the first time that Saudi Arabia fans get to see Trish Stratus and look at who is once again giving these bitches platforms. The man, Big Time Bex herself, Becky Lynch.
Right.
But I want so much for Dana that it's like Trish, more of her, like make her the best version of herself that she could possibly be. Like, I don't even want to say make her like you, because it'd only be one Trish Stratus. The way like, I feel like there can only be one Dana Brooke. Like, just make her like, bitch, get your ass out there and win a belt. Like, whoop these bitches. Like, you can whop Molly the floor with some of these girls. Get out there and go do it. That's the kind of format that I see. I don't know how anybody feels about that. Nikki said, "Let Trish go home." I don't know if
Not
that's the same
yet.
color,
Not
but
yet.
like, I don't want Dana to be anybody else's muscle. I think we're done with the valet and stuff. We've already explained that she has good chemistry. Give her a chance. It's about damn time. Y'all don't got nothing else better to do. These
Right.
NXT girls are still being molded down there. You only called up a few. Like, give her a match with Indy Hartwell. They've already gone
Right.
up against each other.
That's very true.
Wow. Yeah.
I also want to shout out Fit Gems Nation, who run. They basically do what we do, but in the fitness world, is they elevate women in the bodybuilding community and gives them the props because they aren't given enough props as the men are in that industry. And they are big Dana Brooke fans, and they've been pushing this, and they invited a bunch of their platforms. So I want to shout out to them. They also wrote about this fan club on their blog, and it's a really good blog, fitgems.blogspot.com, where they put profiles out, and they've been following Dana Brooke. And they even said, they like that we don't just say like, okay, put the championship on Dana Brooke. Not everyone needs to be world champion in WWE, and I don't think that is the path for Dana, but I think she's a pure example of why WWE needs a solid mid-card division, where even if there wasn't a title around it, give more non-title feuds and have Dana be the star of that part of things. What do you guys feel
And then
about that?
that's where I think a lot of people were also disappointed in this 24/7 championship debacle because, like, hell, if y'all didn't care about it so much, what was wrong with giving it to Dana and having to be Dana, like, having a storyline where it's mine and kind of have her make it like, I don't want to say the TBS championship type thing, but why not turn it into a women's championship and just have her be like, it's mine, I earned it, I did this, I did that. If you want it, come and get it, and then just start from there. But not everybody
Hell,
thinks alike.
hell, back in the day, you had the $1 million man defend his $1 million belt from time to time.
Right.
Yep.
Brian,
No,
what do
I
you
think
think?
it's important. Yeah,
Sorry.
she
Um,
did. Nikki, you're absolutely right.
yeah, that's the thing. Again, when you got somebody that's entertaining like that, and somebody has a good move set, give me more time on this camera. Let's see. Like, think about. Dang, I'm drawing blanks right now. Sorry, but you think about all the men that put on good matches, right?
Hmm.
No titles involved, but you're gonna get a good match. You're gonna get a whole bunch of spots. Why can't we have that with the women? Why can't we just have storylines that's just for the sake of storylines? Like we got one now with Trish and Becky, but we need more. I was talking to the guy, brother Brandon, earlier today, and we was both saying we can't wait till you get to the point where you can have a card where it's women's matches and 5 men's matches. Where it's not always got to be, oh, the women are on. Like, no offense, like we love women's wrestling to the point we want to see it equal, where it's not such a,
Right.
oh my goodness, do you believe that? They got women's
There's
wrestling on.
3 matches.
Yeah, like we're gonna celebrate it while it's a first,
What did we
obviously.
what did we do to deserve this spoiled treatment? That's what it gave. We're
Right.
Hmm.
spoiled.
Exactly. So that's where I'm at, man. And when you got somebody like Dana Brooke on the squad, give her those matches.
Right. I completely agree. And I'm excited that everyone kind of sees a future with Dana Brooke, whether even if that's not in the title picture, they see the value that she can give within the rest of the division. And Nikki brings up good points of just about like the legends and how to use them and how to use a veteran like Dana Brooke. It's one of those situations, especially because she's been around for so long. I do just for a second just want to just shut down all of Dana Brooke's haters really quickly because a lot of them with the snarky comments and like we all have talked about during in this fan club tonight the value that Dana Brooke brings to WWE Women's Division, the talents that she has, the skill set that she brings to the table, everything that she does outside of the ring in WWE, that community building is important part of things and not everyone can fit into that ambassador role. And Dana Brooke, if you look, she is always in those press photos. Brian, you were able to interview her. They were able to slide her into that interview because it was like, oh, okay, dependable person, let's put her in. That's valuable. So I'm glad we were able to give Dana Brooke her flowers and her appreciation. And everyone that joined us, put in the comments like one last thing you'd like to know about Dana Brooke. She did tweet that she was listening to this fan club stream. I don't know if she's still listening, but we do love you, Dana Brooks. Flex City forever.
And then it's like that's another awesome thing about her. Like she appreciates the hell out of her fans. So her to just take the time out of whatever she's preparing to do, or what busy schedule she have, to just be like, I'm listening. That means a lot to us, and that's why people gravitate towards her. Because not for nothing, she really doesn't have to, but she does, and that doesn't make you like her. Like that's fine, but like for me, watch your mouth. Just saying, because the fan, I'm a fan.
Yep.
Yeah, man, and it's something that we've talked about on Fan Club. There's someone for everyone, and if she's not your
Right.
cup of tea, that doesn't mean that there isn't a loyal fan base that rocks with her. And we found it out this week that there is a loyal fan base that really rocks with Dana Brooke. To where like, if you don't like her, cool, but if you want to come with smarky comments or if you want to pay good money to show up to shows and be an asshole, then that's on you, and that's a reflection of you, but not the entire fan base. Because a lot of us actually kind of fuck with Dana, and we actually want to see her do great things. Some of us want to see her as champion. Some of us want to see her as money in the bank winner. We want to see her do great things. If she think your cup of tea, cool, but fall back. We don't need the comments.
That part.
Hmm.
That part. And yeah, she did say that she was listening. And I don't think anyone particularly hates Dana Brooke, but wrestling is broad and there's so much going on. And like you said, she may not be your cup of tea, but she is a lot of people's cup of tea. And she has everything that it takes to be a successful WWE superstar. And we're so excited to see where else she goes. I want to shout out also another fan account, Dana Brooks Fans One on Twitter, another account that has followed us for years, who we always have constructive conversations about her. Again, we're not saying dethrone Bianca Belair, be the one to break the streak. What we're saying is give her a little bit more TV time, invest a little bit more in storylines involving her because she is a veteran and she has everything that it takes. And I hope that, just like when we did the Naomi episode a few years ago, we released it at a time that Naomi Trinity said, I needed to hear this. I needed to reflect my career. I hope this reaches Dana Brooke in that same capacity where she feels like it's time, like this gives me that fire. It's reminded that like we love you. You have a fan base out there. You have a community that's rooting for you. And this is honestly what I've always wanted fan club to be like, which was just a forum to celebrate particular things. And we were able to do that tonight and do a part 2 on our very first TWG spotlight on Dana Brooke. So thank you all for making this happen. And thank you to the crew, Brian, Seindole, and Justin, for tapping into and even going, doing this. We all had to go back and look back on moments from Dana Brooke. Thank you guys. Did you guys like celebrating her tonight?
This was enjoyable. I like any excuse to watch Breaking Ground again is a perfect excuse to be doing this type of thing. So
For those that don't remember Breaking Ground, Seindole, really quick, was that like a Tough Enough, or was it a reality show?
It was more like I want to make sure I say it right. It was more like a behind the scenes. Yeah. It wasn't much Tough Enough, but you got to see what it was like to be in the beginning, because a lot of people, I think they created this show because a lot of people weren't understanding the pretext of NXT. Like, if people were comparing it at the time to like a WCW for WWE, which was not the case. You got to see people. I think at one episode, at one point, somebody got released. Bill DeMont, when he was there, he had to release 2 people, and they kind of gave the insight on that. You had finally saw the friendship between Bailey and Carmella, and how their friendship would be on the road. Like, they were traveling, it would do so much. Like, even from like Corbin Barron's like struggles with going from football to being a WWE superstar. They featured that. They had Aaliyah, who wasn't like really grasping the concept of becoming a superstar, but they featured her, and it all traveled up to WrestleMania weekend. They talked about Sasha and Bailey were on there because they were, of course, covering Bailey, because this was like her second takeover, and it was like a real big deal what Triple H was doing for them. And even they covered everybody from Nia Jax to her to
yeah, I did watch this.
It was so good. I remember religiously. The network was horrible to me, but it was 3 reasons to watch. They still had all the old documentaries, every single one, from CM Punk down to Randy Orton's first one, to all of John Cena's, to like the Razor Ramon documentaries, and then they had new shows, and Breaking Ground was one of them. So I liked it. It made me appreciate NXT so much more, because it wasn't like they weren't sugarcoating what happened. It was mostly dirt sheet things that you heard were happening down at NXT that they put on the show. No filter, no cut. They had like people who were training, like they had like tryouts, and somebody like, I think, I threw up at a tryout, and they were showing like how in I'm skipping my words. They were showing how really tough it was. Like, what you would have saw on Tough Enough was more like real and grit. Like, it looked like a reality show. It looked like a behind the scenes of an NFL game day. That's what it gave me. Gave me game day vibes. Remember when ESPN used to have 360? That's what it gave me for the NXT brand. And it all lined up to WrestleMania weekend.
Gotcha. Yeah. They should bring a little something like that back, even if it's just like on YouTube.
Enzo and Amore had gotten called up after that, and I remember them like Triple H, and I knew that Triple H was going to make Carmella a champion at one point, because he said he left Carmella behind at NXT because him and the whole company really see a future in her. And I was like, oh, for him to say that on a show, when we always guessing like who's a Triple H guy, who's a Vince person, like for them to do that on a show, I was like, that's never really been done before.
That's pretty
You only heard it
cool.
in interviews. So
WWE
Breaking
is
Ground
so
is
ahead of their
still
time.
it's on Peacock. So if you want to watch it again.
Yeah. No, that you definitely have, enlightened me to go do that and go back and look at all of that stuff. There's so much out there. But I just want to take a second and again, I think this was a super fun fan club. I think we should do a lot more like this, more part twos
Oh
to our
yeah.
spotlights. I think it's a
Definitely.
great way to kind of
1000%.
touch base. Yeah. Because again, we covered Dana Brooke in 2019 and we're saying a lot of the same things that we said in this fan club. So we want to do more of that. We're so much closer. Shout out to Krista B to our 100th episode. I think right now we're at like 88 or something like that. So make sure you thank you. Subscribe to our
How many
YouTube
episodes
channel.
again?
We're like at 88, 89. So we are
That's
very
huge.
close.
That's
That's a
huge.
huge milestone that we want to reach. I don't know if you guys even noticed we've been feeding y'all weekly. We do have podcast episodes every 2 weeks, but we have been trying to give you guys some new content every week. So thank you for that. If you have not already checked out our Carmela Spotlight, please make sure you do that. It is on all podcast platforms and on our YouTube channel. We just dropped our Rest Things interview on all of those platforms as well. Check that out. We are here every fucking Wednesday for hashtag TWG Fan Club on Twitch. Next week, we already have our topic actually because it is the premiere of the new season of Dark Side of the Ring, one of my favorite TV shows ever. It is such a good take on wrestling documentaries. We're going to do an unpopular opinion about Vice's Dark Side of the Ring the day after the new premiere. So you are not going to miss that. You are not
Holy
going to
crap.
miss being a part of the conversation. What happened on Dynamite, Brian H. Waters?
Lady Frost is making her 2023 debut. Give her to go against Taya Valkyrie.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh. And welcome Factor Z26. We did talk about Dana and Emma as a tag team, and we do think they should revisit that, especially since they're both in the company. I do think it's a fun opportunity. I think the IWC would definitely know what it's about in the legacy, and it has some legs. So before we head out, I just want to go back and talk about some of what's going on in the TWG universe. Like I mentioned, check out our recent episodes that are out on all platforms. Krista B and CRISPA are back on Friday with Krista B Sounds Off exclusively on Twitch at 3 p.m. Eastern. There is a lot to unpack since they've last sounded off, so make sure you're there. Saturday, we are back with another live recording session with a spotlight on Nancy Benoit, who was known as Woman in Wrestling. We are giving a spotlight to her and talking about some of her innovations and entertaining things that she did in wrestling. So make sure you check that out. The next Thursday stream is June 8th. We will be streaming some fun classic episodes on Twitch on Sunday for TWG Classic. There's a lot going on. So just make sure you follow us everywhere to stay tuned. Shout out to Krista B. Shout out to Dana Brooke again. If you are still listening, we love you. We are always rooting for you. It is Flex City, always, forever. Whatever you end up doing, whether it's in WWE, in the entertainment world, you have the potential to do it all. You have a community that is here following you, and we love you, and we love our community. Shout out to our VIPs, the Rakarshas, the Black Thoughts, the Dylans, the Vaughns, the Coreys, and all of that joined us. Thank you. We love you. We will see you next week. And to my crew, where can everybody find you?
So you can find me on all social media platforms at It's Justin Rich. I just put up a YouTube video going over New Japan Pro Wrestling's resurgence, giving a quick recap of the pay-per-view and what I thought about it. You can find me here Wednesday nights on Twitch for TWG Fan Club with these three beautiful, illustrious co-hosts of mine. You can catch me Tuesday nights on Twitter Spaces for Turnbuckle Talk with Mimi and Corey. We talk all things wrestling. You can catch me from time to time on True Heel Heat Sports and True Heel Heat Wrestling. Both of those channels are located on YouTube, where we talk sports, wrestling, and all that fun stuff. I was just on there for a Monday talking Monday Night Raw and catching the end of Lakers and Nuggets. We here, we outside, we active, Dana Brooke, salute, love, prosperous 2023 going into 2024.
All right, y'all can find me on Wednesday Worldwide. Today we had the WWE 2K champion himself, Cornell Gunter, on. And yeah, he talked about the Solo Sokoa of it all. The guy who could be, could be some dissemination in the bloodline. So make sure y'all check me out there. Make sure y'all check me out on the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. Tonight, we bring in a good friend coming all the way from 1033 The GOAT, from the Bros Who Think Network, Lyndon Burton, a guy who we've been on his show plenty of times. He's the honorary realm member, so we're excited to welcome him on tonight for the Wrestling Realm podcast party. Nice. So y'all know how we get down. A lot of shenanigans. Plus, it is a championship culture takeover by the guy Brandon Guy, as we're going to talk about Night of Champions in any kind of in a different way. Y'all know it's so much wrestling going on this weekend. I'm sitting over here thinking like, well, I guess I ain't going to nobody's cookout. See, this is why, like,
you better than me, honey. That's what Peacock is for, honey.
Yeah, but see, this is why the crew needs to be in the same like location, right?
It's coming.
If we known, we could have planned better, because we could have all been together for this weekend, so we could just like watch, like, you imagine like an Airbnb, and we could have watched all the shows
and live tweeted all night. I swear to God, we gotta talk.
Yeah,
we gotta talk. We gotta do better. We gotta do better.
It's all good. They're gonna be doing stuff like this in the future. We'll be there.
Stay tuned.
So yeah, but that'll be it for my plugs this week.
All right, as always, it is your honorary wrestling girl, Seindole B. You can catch me on Instagram, TikTok at reload.relive. You can catch me talking all my shit and telling all these Dana Brooke haters to calm the hell down. On Twitter, reload. Patricia making that face because she already know how I get. You already know how I be. I don't care. When I say clap, clap, clap back. You can catch me on Twitter doing that. At Relive Via Film. You can also catch me on YouTube at reload.relive, making shorts and making a whole lot of noise. You can also catch me on here with the 3 bestest friends that anybody can have on the Fan Club every Wednesday. You could also catch me on some secret projects that I'm working on, including some interviews and appearing on some podcasts with some very good friends in our community. And all of you, don't be afraid to come in this community. We welcome everybody. We welcome Dana Brooke fans. We welcome Willow Nightingale fans. We just don't tolerate any haters. So once you're not a hater, come on over. The water's fine. We pop bottles and we have a good time. Every Wednesday, you are welcome into the universe.
Yes. Yeah, so I also just want to thank all of you guys for joining us. I'm excited to get into Dark Side of the Ring and how wrestling is covered from that aspect next week. Follow us, subscribe. If you know a wrestling fan and they just want to be involved with other wrestling fans in the community, tell them to follow those wrestling girls. Hashtag TWG Fan Club. We are everywhere, and we will see you next week. Everybody flex for Dana. Everybody got flex.
I have like no muscle. I have like no muscle. Whoa! I forgot. Don't forget to get your Jack Daddy. Right? You think I forgot?
Y'all must have forgot.
WrestlingRealm.com.
WrestlingRealm.com.
On that note,
we'll see you next